We are back for another HNL Tonight show with your hockey coach, Guru, Coach Frenchy, directly for the beautiful country of Thailand. And tonight we have a special guest who's going to join us the next couple of minutes. But we have a co-host back in the house, the co-host of the HABS brunch every Sunday with me. We have Mr. Marko LARABIE back in the house tonight.
Good evening, Coach. How's it going? Excited for SENS night. Big SENS night tonight.
Look like I see like a couple hours ago.
How's you look surprised. You look excited to see me. Very busy today. Back to work. Craziness at work, and kind of rainy and gray in Ottawa today. But hockey season right around the corner. Twitter's on fire with a whole bunch of awesome hockey talk. So excited, man. Really excited. October is my favorite month, and we're really close here. So getting pretty excited.
Yeah, absolutely right. Another great show tonight, and we have a special guest, another from the hockey bars, going to join us the next couple of minutes, Mr. Kevin Francis. Covered the Ottawa Senators during the season. I can't wait to talk about one and maybe the best team didn't make so many moves during the offseason, so I'm pretty sure we're going to have a lot of questions to ask him and give us some update about the upcoming season, about the Senator, and you are, and honestly, another person leaving Ottawa, so I'm sure you're going to have a lot of questions to ask for Kevin tonight.
For sure. Like I said, I've never seen Ottawa Senators Twitter be this cocky heading into the season. It's a lot of fun. Everybody's really excited. Everybody's really confident about the team. So very curious to get Kevin's take on a lot of the things that we saw this summer.
Definitely. And he is really active on Twitter. And I know he knows his hockey. So I can't wait to hear his knowledge about the Ottawa Senators. But before we start, like we do usually, we're going to a little bit different. We're going first of all talking about what is the purpose of the show tonight, how he won. Honestly, we're going to have Kevin with us guys until 10 o'clock p.m. And you can ask questions. I put the letter Q for Kevin, but the answer of those questions will be after 9:35 or 9:40. Depends the time we have, at least for the last 15 minutes of the show. And then at 10 o'clock p.m., me and Marko, we are coming back. We're going to talk about fun news we have around the league, NHL, Mr. Marko. We have a lot, like you said, a couple of things happening yesterday or today. Yep. And then we're going to talk about, at the end, of course, we're going to do the Frenchy quiz, Mr. Marko. Frenchy quiz right now, the leaderboard in our tap is on fire. Take the lead, a 5.5 point. Did a perfect game yesterday.
Perfect.
I got him an extra point, but we're going to talk about more about this. We welcome everybody in the chat. We have a lot of people in the chat. Unfortunately, usually we welcome everyone one by one, but I just want to mention a couple of people. Chicago Bear Fan 97, welcome back. The panelists in our tap and moderator Jose Duarte are in the house. The number of fans of the Buffalo Sabre, Alexandre Dubois, is with us tonight. Alan Barnes with AOR is within the house tonight. And then we have Luciano Graziano, moderator of the Hockey Nation Live Show. Micro Love, Shark HD, another big fans of the Shark, is in the house tonight. And then I'm trying to get out. You have other people in the chat. Yann Gienet from New Brunswick, de la belle. Il est de retour avec nous. Another great man in the house. And that's what we got so far. Oh, Kevin DB. Kevin, welcome back, Kevin. A long time we not see him. Kevin, a big fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs, is in the house. Miss Kelly joined us for the show tonight. And thanks, everybody, to be a part of the show. Matt Gonzo, welcome back in the house. Glad to see you, Matt. Hopefully an amazing, great off summer. Matt is a big fan of the Hockey Nation Live Show. We thanks each one of you to be a part of the show tonight. And King of Game back in the house tonight. Thanks so much, King of Gamer, to be with us. Why not, Mr. Marko, to invite Mr. Kevin Francis to join us?
Yes,
Let's further ado to welcome directly. I'm pretty sure he's in Ottawa area. Maybe we go somewhere else, but he would tell us. Mr. Kevin Francis, welcome in the house tonight.
Gentlemen, thank you. No, I'm in Ottawa. I'm in Canada, to be specific. So right by the rink. Just a couple of minutes away from the CTC. So I know, Marko, you said you're in Ottawa as well. But glad to be on with you guys. And like I was saying to you guys before we came on, I'll definitely be able to jump on every Tuesday, and let's see if we can expand from that as well. But glad to be on with you, gentlemen, on this dreary, rainy Ottawa day.
It is a bit, yeah.
That's
So yeah,
awesome.
well, we're
Go ahead,
right in
Marco.
Canada, right? So, I'm
Right
sure
in the
we'll
heart
get
of it, right
into
by the
the
lake.
rink talk. Right by the lake.
Sorry, say that again.
Nice. I'm sure we
Yeah, right
might
in the
get
middle.
into some rink talk.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
you know what I was saying to some of my readers? I said there's a lot of things that I can't say per se in writing in the blog, but I sent it out there earlier about 10, 15 minutes ago saying, hey, I'll get into a few things that many asked me throughout the summer. If it was on Twitter or in the blog,
Nice.
I can get into more details, right, without getting my wrist slapped.
That's
Man, Kevin,
awesome, Kevin.
we'll take exclusives any day of the week for sure.
That's awesome,
All right, sounds
Kevin,
good.
to join us tonight. First of all, a little bit, give us a little bit your bio, your resume, and a little bit explain what you're doing. I know you're really active on Twitter account, and I love what I read from your hockey buzz. But a little bit go deeper. What do you fall in love with
Sure.
hockey and everything like this? I'll be helping the people know a little bit more about you.
No, absolutely. I mean, if you want to talk SENS in terms of how I even got turned on to the SENS, I mean, when Ottawa came here, I was in high school when the SENS came here. I was in high school, grade 12. Remember it very well, right? Sitting in English class, Mr. Couture's English class, and they announced it. We got a franchise, right? So I was an Oilers fan growing up. There's nothing else here. I went and saw the Oilers and the Habs play in '86, the old Ottawa Civic Center, in a preseason game, right, with Patrick Waugh and Wayne Gretzky, the whole bit. But once the team came here, I thought, you know what, I'm going to switch my allegiances, right? Born and raised in Ottawa and so forth. But, over the years, naturally just followed it inside out, branched out, did different things, because I did live in the U.S. for different points of my life, and branched out doing stuff if it was with Satellite Radio, different venues and so forth. So if it's XM Satellite Radio, but I also, like I said, very big, deep love of U.S. college football and the NFL. I've done a lot of that over the years, both in Canada and down in the U.S. But that's basically kind of where I'm at when it comes to sports. Naturally, love covering the CFL, the Ottawa Red Blacks. And so yeah, that's basically how I got into it. I've been doing it over 20 years, just different media outlets and so forth, right? But this came up a little over a year ago. I noticed there was no one writing on the site, and I hadn't written in years, right? I did stuff with the Associated Press back in like 2000, right, when I was down in the U.S. So, yeah, I used to do college basketball, everything down there, right? So, sorry, guys, my allergies are killing me. But, yeah, that's how I reached out to the site mods, and they had a good idea who I was, and they said, hey, yeah, we'd love to bring you on, and so I've just been doing that, and then doing, like I said, the NFL and college football satellite radio, different podcasts, guests on different podcasts too, and so forth. But in terms of the SENS, no, it was the moment that the franchise was announced, I made my allegiance here in Ottawa and switched over from the Oilers.
That's awesome, Kevin. First of all, thanks to join us tonight. We really, really appreciate your time you gave to us, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot of questions in the chat a little bit in the next little bit minute. But before we start, we want to welcome more people join us. Danny T, the captain of the moderator, is in the house. Eternal Render is joined us. Siratsik, a new contributor of the Hockey National Show, is in the house tonight. We have London James. Welcome back, London. Long time we did not see you around London. We miss you, buddy. Thanks to be a part of the show tonight. Then we have something, nobody else. Hopefully, you guys don't forget to put the letter Q in front of your question. We're going to answer all your questions about 9:40 tonight from Kevin about the Ottawa Senator, and that would be great to see that. The first thing we want to talk about, Kevin, and maybe give us some information, and then Marko is going to ask us some question about this, but a little bit what happening with Ottawa Senators on the moves on the off season. The best move, we know they did a lot. Pierre Dorion may be one of the best 3 GM during the off season, honestly, with all the different things he did with the signature UFA and the trade. So give us a little bit more about the Ottawa Senator during the off season.
Absolutely. I'm going to start actually with, I think some of the most important things he did was shedding contracts and salary to allow himself to set himself up, right, to put him in those positions, to make a free agent signing of Claude Giroux, and to make that for Alex Brinket, and to bring in Cam Talbot. Shedding Matt Murray's contract had to happen. There was just absolutely no two ways about it. And I wrote about this back in February, and kind of I even had a few different TSN insiders reach out to me telling me, good job on you for writing about it, because there was a lot going on behind the scenes there that I don't think anyone just even wanted to write about, let alone discuss. There was absolutely no way in hell that they could bring Matt Murray back here. The locker room had already given up on him, tuned him out. But it also went back to how it was all handled, right? When you look at how it was all handled, from DJ Smith to Pierre Dorion, it was an absolute train wreck, right? And you know what? I always say this, and it doesn't matter if it's the NHL, NFL, CFL, players around the league, they take notice about how players are handled, how they're treated, and so forth when it comes time for free agency. So the way
ask the Golden Knights that, right?
Well, and just as a coach, DJ Smith was, quick to throw him under the bus. Yes, Matt Murray had major work ethic issues, right? Matt Murray, and for no fault of his own, there had to be some sort of mental health issues going on there because of the stuff that was taking place behind the scenes. I mean, you don't, on opening, home game of the season, let your coach know 3 hours before puck drop that you have the sniffles, right? Like it's just, like I said, and it happened on a couple other occasions, right? Oh, and you know what? DJ, I'll hand it to him, right? Covered his, on a couple of occasions. He's not feeling well. He's come down with the flu. He's not going to skate with the team. They made him not skate with the team for a couple of days to make it look like it was a legitimate illness, when I really think there was stuff just going on there, right? Sadly, between the years. And everyone, these days, the last 2.5 years since COVID hit, has had to deal with different mental health issues. So I'm not making light of it all. But the fact is, the team, allowed it to fester. And then the players began to turn on it. Because if you look as the season went, who did they play hard for and who didn't they play hard for in goal, right?
Yeah.
So him shedding Matt Murray, it had to happen. I know for a fact that Brady Tkachuk and Thomas Chabot basically flat out told Pierre, if he's here come training camp, the locker room's going to be a mess. And, that's the one thing, is that they pride themselves on that locker room being a tight bunch, right? But when everything happened there, when he said, again, he was sick when he went to Pittsburgh, right, for his return, right? Same sort of thing, always ill, and his practice habits were absolutely atrocious, right? Just atrocious. But, the thing is, it goes back to last year when he got Pierre Drew fired. People don't want to admit it, but Pierre Drew got released from his. I mean, they demoted him to being whatever in the organization. But Matt Murray did the exact same thing in Pittsburgh, folks. He had his goalie coach fired after he won 2 cups with him. He had concussion issues there. Pierre Dorion had total control of the player when he traded for him. He was an RFA, and he hands it a 4-year deal to him. So it was all these things. So, I give Pierre Dorion all the credit in the world for what he did do, but he had to clean up his mess as well to be able to create the cap flexibility to acquire the players he did. So releasing, getting rid of Matt Murray, and then as well,
Super Chat.
As well, when you look at when it comes to Colin White, that was the other big piece. You could get rid of him on a third of a buyout. That was a mistake made by Pierre Dorion as well, right? He those numbers were attributed from playing with, JG Pajot and Mark Stone. He never put up those numbers again. And he only did that for about 3/4 of the season, and they handed him a 6-year contract. Well, naturally, the player's going to say yes, and then they're trying to make it look like, the organization was making a commitment to winning and so forth. So that was another move. And then naturally, the Michael Del Zotto move, that was just an I don't even know why they brought him in here last summer. They already had a ton of depth in the blue line. I mean, the guy saw, 15, 20 games? I should probably know that offhand, but I don't.
Yeah,
he didn't even start the first, 6, 8, 10 games of the season. And then no other team was willing to give him a 2-year deal. Oh, hey, let's give him a 2-year deal, right? So those are the things, right? It was all those moves, right, that he had to make. So now to go positive now, Pierre recognized his mistakes. A lot of GMs don't want to admit or recognize their mistakes. So I'll give him all the credit in the world. and that's what did allow him to be able to get, like I said, an Alex DeBrincat, right? And he was able to sign a Claude Giroux, right? He had the cap flexibility. If he still had Colin White and Matt Murray on the books, sorry, folks, there's no way in hell he was going to be able to sign Claude Giroux. And then the other aspect is that I never got into, but I broke the trade actually at the time. I knew that Gustafsson was going back for Cam Talbot, and Philip Gustafsson would work himself up so much prior to a game. The man was vomiting before games. Like, he was a nervous wreck. And it was just a matter of time as well before they moved on from Philip Gustafsson. But the sad part is they chose to protect him in the expansion draft last year and expose Joey Daccord. And Joey Daccord gets selected by Seattle. And then here, you knew he was already a basket of nerves, but because he had a strong end of the last 2 campaigns prior to that, they thought, oh, wait a minute, maybe he's got some upside and maybe we can work on this whole nervous Nelly stuff, but it didn't change all year, right? Now, naturally, DJ didn't play him much. He was going a month at a time without playing. That's not conducive for any young player's development, let alone in goal, right? But the reason why is because Matt Murray had a concussion because someone would accidentally knock him or fall on him, and he was out for another month, right? I mean, that happened in the St. Louis game. It happened in the Arizona game. You would just nudge him in the head, but he had concussion issues going back to junior in Sault Ste. Marie and at Pittsburgh. So, again, that the Gustafsson move had to happen, but then Cam Talbot because Cam wasn't happy in Minnesota. So I personally think Cam Talbot could end up being the starter here. I know everyone's big on Anton Forsberg, but I wonder if Anton Forsberg has reached his ceiling, right? And Cam Talbot might be the guy that maybe gets 50 games and maybe Forsberg gets 30, 35, sort of games. So those moves I thought were critical, and just reshaping it too, and just, getting the players in the organization, the fans to believe and, all kind of pull into, one common goal. Because for years you had headbutting going on, right? You had headbutting going on. And then, of course,
that's what I was going to ask you, Kevin. That's what I was going to ask you, Kevin, is, so some of those moves, that Dorion did during that time, do you think any of them were more Pierre Maguire type moves, more so than Dorion moves? We know that the rumor out there is that Maguire was really kind of in the ear of Melnyk directly. And, so do you think a lot of those moves, that Dorion did after Melnyk passed is a lot of him being able to get out of the shackles and able to kind of really shape the team the way that he wanted?
It's a great question. I'm glad you brought it up because last week here on TSN 1200, the morning show, Jaron Simmer actually touched that subject, which I think a lot of people in this town don't want to touch. So I give them a ton of credit for touching on that subject. And they flat out said, if Eugene Melnyk hadn't passed away, none of this happens this summer, first of all. None of this happens. I'm telling you right now, none of it happens. Now, I'm now going to give everybody a little lowdown on what did happen last summer with Pierre Maguire. I made comments on my blog over the summer, over the season, but I'll tell you this, flat out, Montreal's in the Stanley Cup final there. They were in that was the conference final at the time, even though it was Vegas, and they were playing Vegas there in the semifinals. And at that time, he reached out. All right, Pierre Maguire reached out to Pierre Dorion because he knew he was not going to be moving on to TNT or ESPN. So he reaches out to Pierre Dorion to see if he could get a position within the organization. Pierre Dorion gave him the biggest Heisman in the world and blew him off. 100%. Okay? Blew him off, gave him the Heisman. And Pierre Maguire then went, all right, reached out to a couple of folks in Ottawa that had Eugene Melnyk's direct cell phone.
Wow.
Right number.
Wow.
He reached out to Pierre Maguire reached out to Eugene Melnyk. Now, if you go back and you listen to Pierre Maguire's interviews on the day he was hired, he specifically says that he spoke with Eugene Melnyk for over a week, and nobody in the organization, not even in Pierre Maguire's own family, knew that these talks were going on. Because they damn well knew if Pierre Dorion got wind of it, right, shit would hit the fan, right? So they spoke back and forth for a week. He was offered the job. They signed off on it without Pierre Dorion knowing anything. And basically it was sprung on him on that Friday. and they said, we're heading up to Tremblant, and you're going to meet us at Pierre Maguire's home in Tremblant. And he had no say whatsoever in it.
Wow.
Those two, Pierre Dorion, I mean, if you go back and you look at everything on the TV that went on and so forth, I mean, Pierre Dorion wanted nothing to do with Pierre Maguire. But Pierre Maguire, yes, had Eugene Melnyck's ear, but there's a reason why he was able to get in Eugene Melnyck's ear. Because for years, right, especially the last 3 years, Pierre Dorion and DJ Smith were not held accountable when it came to developing the prospects and developing the talent here. And there's a lot of, like a Colin White, prime example. What on earth happened to him, right, in his development? I mean, we can go further back. Curtis Lazar, you just keep going on and on. So Eugene Melnyk was actually fed up with what was going on. But you know what? Pierre Dorion's the lowest paid GM in the league. DJ Smith's the lowest paid coach in the league. DJ Smith is making under $800,000, folks. Right? Ducharme got 1.7 mil. Okay? So bottom line is that Pierre Dorion and DJ Smith's jobs were safe, but at the same time, Eugene wanted to be able to hold them accountable. Well, how else do you do that when you're paying them the lowest paid salaries in the NHL? Oh, I got my sidekick here. I'll pay him $500,000, Pierre Maguire. So, again, Pierre Maguire, I was told flat out, 100% from a family member that if it was not for Pierre Maguire, the Brady Tkachuk signing would never have happened. The extension
also, like, there was news that I think Pierre Maguire was pretty instrumental in bringing on Hamonic as well, too, right?
He was very instrumental in Hamonic, and sadly, he had a voice in the Michael Del Zotto thing too, man. That waiver claim of Madame Gaudette had Pierre Maguire's fingerprints all over it. So all these moves were taking place. It was like Pierre Maguire, the co-GM, not the VP of hockey development.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and the other thing is that, Pierre's a strong personality, right? But he's got a network and a contact list that exceeds anything Pierre Dorion has. Let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade, right? Yeah. And the bottom line is, though, what I want to say is that the Brady Tkachuk thing, because he has such the Newport, sports group. Pierre had a very, very tight relationship with them, and he literally told them, "Get in the damn car, and we're driving down to Belleville." This was like 2 games into the season, and they brokered that deal down in Belleville. All right, it had nothing to do with Pierre Dorion. It was all Pierre Maguire. And so It was so comical to see them sitting up in the press box there, right? And they do that fake fist bump when they introduce Brady Tkachuk that night to the Stone Cold music, and he comes out during the second, period, the TV timeout, right? And you see them give a fist bump, and it was like Pierre Maguire had this look like, yeah, that's got my fingerprints all over it, and Pierre Dorion, it was like, yeah, whatever. Right? It was just, you can just read their body language. But, the Pierre Maguire thing.
You have to be a patient guy. You have to be a patient guy. Like Pierre Dorion, I think a lot of people around the league would view him and see a situation and just kind of, feel bad for him, right? Because he's kind of restrained, not only with Melnyk, and then you have this guy hovering above you with Pierre Maguire that, like you said, has this huge kind of history behind him and a lot of credibility and a lot of panache, in the hockey world. And so really interesting kind of background there, Kevin. Thanks for sharing that.
I had to break it. I had to let the cat out of the bag. I had people asking me, honestly, all season long, and I put little snippets in the comments section of my blog, but I'm not going to put that in writing.
We'll take the breaking news here any day. Any day,
I'll tell you
breaking news or any exclusives.
As we go here, coach as well, I know he's going to want to ask me, right, about other stuff that could have happened maybe, and then getting into the whole Atlantic part. But I got a lot of context on the West Coast from my West Coast days, and I'll give you guys some Jacob Chychrun scoops and stuff that could have happened and should have happened. And
nice.
Pierre kind of almost put the kibosh to himself. Not even.
Did he freeze?
Yeah, I think maybe he froze, but really interesting stuff there, Coach. Really kind of demonstrating kind of the chaos that was kind of in behind the scenes with the Senators in the Melnyk era. And I think it just demonstrates the contrast that we're seeing now with the direction that the Sens are taking now, and how happy all the Senators fans are, all the hope and that they have. So pretty exciting. Hopefully we can get Kevin back on here. But like I said, yeah, really fascinating insights into kind of the inner workings of the dynamic between Pierre Dorion and Pierre Maguire. But yeah, so really interested to hear kind of his takes on. So Pierre Dorion's able to kind of clear the deck a little bit, and to Kevin's point, kind of repair some of his own errors that he had made on some of those signings. I know there's a lot of Toronto Maple Leaf fans that were pretty shocked that the Sens were able to move Matt Murray over to them and only retain that amount of salary. Not a unanimous move at all for Leafs Nation on that one. And like you said, like that really set the table for Dorion to kind of be able to get some cap space and make some of the moves that he's now being praised for. So,
Definitely.
sometimes you, when you make mistakes, you don't always get the opportunity to fix your own mistakes. But it looks like he's got a nice second kick at the can here. And so hopefully Kevin can come back here. Hopefully,
definitely. We will wait for him. But we have want to welcome a couple of people back in the house. We welcome everybody. And for Danny, we said at the beginning, we're going to answer the question around 9:45 after we go through this. So we don't want to answer the question during the time we have the guest because it's getting up and down. And we wait maybe Mr. Bobby to come, Mr. Kevin to come back. I will try to get him on the.
Sure. I can see people in the chat here, Coach. So if you want, as you're messaging them, I can see who else we didn't get to in the chat here. I see Antti Koivula has joined us, so welcome, Antti. Welcome back to Hockey Nation Live. We got Chicago Bears, Roger LGWHG Habs fan number 1. I think that's the first time I see you on here, but maybe you've been here before, so welcome back or welcome for the first time. We got Kelly, got Corey Hill. Good timing, Corey Hill. I know he's an Ottawa Senators fan, so
yeah, he's
glad
a big
that we're
fan
able
of
to.
the Ottawa Senator.
Yeah, that's awesome, Corey. So thanks for joining us tonight, and yeah, hopefully we can get this back on track here, Coach. But I can keep us going, talking a little bit more about the Sens.
Yeah, what we can do, wait a little bit when he's coming back, and then we can see if he's going to answer to me. But at the same time, we can talk about something happening in the NHL yesterday, Marco. And we have a big signature happening with the St. Louis Blues. Yesterday signed the 25 years old Jordan Kyrou, an extension of 8 years at $8 million. We know that a couple of weeks ago, they signed Robert Thomas, almost the same kind of deal, and that opens some eyes for Cole Caulfield at the same time. So it'll be interesting to see that. Exactly. So maybe you can tell us a bit more about this, your impression about this contract.
Yeah, I think you're hit it on the nose. So Jordan Kyrou, breakout season for him, first All-Star appearance last year, really broke out. Nice little kind of performance in the playoffs too. But I think you're right. Like, this is for Habs fan, this is really interesting to see how they manage the comparison Suzuki for Robert Thomas and then Kyrou with Cole Caulfield. So I know we've had this debate around the Caulfield contract over the last couple of weeks, whether it's a bridge deal, and some people are questioning whether he should get that kind of money. But this might be a nice prelude or a nice foreshadowing about what we see with Cole Caulfield. But Jordan Kyrou, solid player, dynamic, speedy, nice mitts on him, really nice player. Took him a couple years it shows that it's good to be patient with your prospects, because what is he, 24 years old now, Coach? Like, it did take him 25. So listen, like, sometimes you have to be patient with your prospects. The Blues are a really nice example of how to ease in your prospects. They have a really nice blend there of like good veterans and kind of like bringing in those young players to bolster the lineup. So really nice deal here, for nice bit of business for the Blues. Jordan Kyrou, you back up the Brinks truck and collect your 8 years at 8, and I'm sure he's happy. I'm sure Blues fans are happy, and I'm sure his teammates are happy, because
75 point and 74 goal game last year, 27, 48 assists, And he's just turned 24. I apologize, I did 25, but there's 24.
Yeah.
No news from Kevin, but we have other news. We want to welcome back Salah Bobby back at the nuts, back in the house, Mr. Game Winner, Gold Hockey. Welcome back. And then we have the extension 1 year. That's funny to say that the Dallas Stars signed and it gave an extension for his general manager Jim Neal only for 1 more year. So really rare. Usually a GM could get 3 to 5 years, and he's been there for many years. We know he did a great job as assistant general manager with the Detroit Red Wings with Ken Holland for many years, and he did not do a bad job with the Dallas Stars. Just the team did not perform, go all the way until they got the Tampa Bay Lightning during the season of the COVID-19, honestly. But I think Jim Neal, he was on the edge, right? So they gave 1 year. Is it just to survive, or he's going to get another extension after that? It would be interesting to follow with this signature. But what do you think about Jim Neal again for this extension?
Not a huge vote of confidence, that's for sure. For a guy with that track record, like huge background with the Red Wings before he came on to Dallas. I think he's done a pretty good job there. Like, you can criticize the Seguin and Ben contracts right now. Similarly, though, to what we were talking about with Melnyk ownership in Ottawa, I know the Dallas owner can sometimes be pretty opinionated in terms of personnel decisions. And I'm pretty sure that he had a lot to do with those contracts for Ben and Seguin as well. But listen, even with those contracts, I think I've been on the record on the show saying that I think Dallas is doing a pretty good job still, though, of infusing very, very good young talent into that team. If you're talking about Jason Robertson, you have Stankoven that's coming, some really, really nice young players. You have Rope Hintz, Kelly's favorite player. It seems like, she talks about him a lot, and with good reason, because he's a very dynamic young center. So I like what Dallas is doing, and I think even with those really tough contracts weighing his salary cap down, so I don't know. I don't understand what the hesitation is here. They moved bonus out last year, bit of a change there. So obviously they're not 100%. Ownership is not 100% happy with how things are going, because this is definitely not a huge endorsement.
It's a team with problem with
right?
their contract with Jimmy Benn and the other Seguin, so they're a bit stuck about some kind of move because they cannot go over the salary cap. So we'll be interesting to see if it's a team will be borderline to make the playoff. About this, whatsoever is maybe not coming back, will maybe answer all the questions they have in the chat the next few seconds. But before the last news of the day is coming from many different teams, they gave more and more PTO. It's going to become a little bit normal. Normality in NHL because of the salary cap problem, but the Seattle Kraken PDO at Daniel Sprong. We have Los Angeles King Nate Thompson, New Jersey Devils Thomas Ake, and Arizona gave to the goaltender Chris Gibson, ex-Florida Panthers and ex-Tampa Bay Lightning. So 4 new players on the PDO, and they have over 25, if I can recall it. I think it was 22, 23 yesterday. So would be interesting who's going to get a job from an offer contract if they make the team. And then I want to thank Parker Mine to the super chat a little bit earlier. We saw that in the chat, so we appreciate a lot. And let's dive in, Mr. Marko. And a couple of questions we got for the Ottawa Senator. I think we can answer anyway. For sure. Let me get this queue up. If you have any question, guys, put the letter Q and we're going to answer to you any question you have right now. For the next 20 minutes, we're going to go through this one over there. That'd be awesome. First of all, he also said, do you think the Brinkat can sign long-term with the Ottawa Senator? We know he's at the end of his contract, over $6.2 million with 40 goal season back-to-back. Look, this hit almost like $9 million. They already have $49 million commit for the upcoming year, like 2023-24, with the signature of Shabbat Suzley and Pedersen, Tkachuk, and Josh Norris. Can you think, or do you believe they can add another $8-9 million on the Brinkat? Because he would be anyway RFA, so the backs he can get next year is about $7 million. So do you expect the Ottawa sign him a long term?
I think they're certainly going to try. I think this year they're hoping that he's going to go there. He's going to fall in love playing with that young core. Being from Ottawa, they're going to show him the beaver tails that we have here, and maybe he'll love all the beaver tails we have, and maybe take a hometown discount to stay, because I don't know if they can fit nine to $10 million guy with that young core that they've already committed to, right? And then again, like, you have some young guys coming on the back end, Sanderson and Brandstrom coming. Like, man, you need to leave some money for the back end, so it's going to be challenging for them to do it. But listen, like, he's all in on this core, right? So I think if they can't get a long-term deal done at the number that makes sense for DeBrincat, then maybe they just kind of get him for the 1 year, qualify him, and just hope that that his experience in Ottawa is so positive that he just wants to stay with the team and be part of what they think will be a good young core that has a chance to win in a couple of years.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely right
so kind
about
of a
this.
hopeful approach, but yeah.
What do you think about Jake Sanderson? Another question for EOR. Do you think Jake Sanderson will be the NHL regular for the Senator this season?
He's absolutely going to get a chance to play. There's no question about that. I think we all realize that there's a bit of a hole on the right side for defensemen there. Like, unless you think that Hamonic is going to play top pairing with Shabbat, it's not impossible. They
I
might
think
try that,
Zob is
but
going to get it.
yeah, like, I think he's played with Zub a little bit in the back, or in the last couple of years. I don't know if Zub is really a guy that you want playing that many minutes. I think the best thing for Ottawa overall, having Jake Sanderson, regardless of where he plays, is the impact that has on Thomas Chabot's minutes. I think if you follow the Senators closely, we all love Thomas Chabot. We all recognize that he's one of the top 10 best puck moving and offensive D in the league, but his utilization is just too much. Like, they ride him too much, some like 28 minutes sometimes, just too much, right? So just having Sanderson there, even if he's going to eat up like 18 minutes, in that top four, whether it's on the right or on the left. My only concern, it's similar to what we've talked about with the Habs with their young D core, is you just don't want to put Sanderson, regardless of how good he is, you just don't want to put him in a position, in the chair that he's not supposed to be in. You don't want to, you want to shelter a young guy like that. He's not a young rookie by any chance. He's got those couple of years of college underneath his belt, so I think he's ready to play. But again, this is a core asset, one of your top picks from the last couple of years. I know that the Senators are in a position where they put a lot of investment into pushing for a playoff spot this year, but you have to be careful. This is a really important asset for you, so you don't want to mismanage it. Put him in a tough spot, playing on his offside maybe, and just playing too many minutes. So I think he plays this year. There's Kevin.
Kevin, welcome back in the show.
Man, lightning. So I go back down to bottom. Naturally, the whole thing's off, but there's been a lot of lightning in the area, right? So
don't worry about that
storm.
one over there. It's all good, my friend.
Good,
it's that's the beauty to be live stream, and we all have a backup plan here in the Hockey Nation Live Show. So once somewhere,
all right,
it's maybe in our tap. Maybe you're going to meet in our tap the next couple of nights, or maybe a couple of shows. But in our tap is a magician. He figure out, like, he disappear people. He make a lot of things in this show. You never know. So, but glad to see you, Mike Kevin. We already started.
Fair enough. I felt bad, and I'm downstairs now, right next to my modem. So now I got a different photo behind me. So, like I said, I should be good. I'm 5 feet away from the modem.
Not a problem, Kevin.
Your background looks almost exactly the same.
Okay, good. There, fair enough. So don't ever know if I was in a different room or not. But I forget where we're at. We're talking Pierre Maguire, and I wanted to hit on a story. Now, like I said, I was so flustered there. I had my dog going nuts. He didn't like the lightning or the thunder either. So I'm trying to remember where we're at. We were talking.
Yeah, I think we were good. Like, I think we all thought it was really fascinating to kind of hear, the seamless kind of underbelly of kind of what was going on with that management team. but now we're kind of like greener pastures. So we have
Yeah,
Pierre
absolutely.
Dorion, unchained Pierre Dorion that's ready to kind of move forward.
Well,
So yeah,
that's it.
Let's
And you know what? The other thing is,
let's move on to
sorry, guys, go ahead.
Kevin, because we first of all, I wish we have more time to talk to you about something, but because we want to hear more about the top prospect, we want to talk more about the prediction 2022-23, what you expect from them, and then maybe a Q&A. And we, because you was not here, so we start to do the Q&A, and I'm going to ask, repeat your question. If you some question to you, maybe you can give us some answer about this. One of them is coming from Stratic, and Stratic said that the SLATER lock out long term a lot of guys not close to the point of the game. Do you think they need a point per game to? He's back again. No, are you still there, Kevin? There we go. Hold on.
he's frozen again.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
there
right
he is.
here.
All right, he's
Okay.
freezing. I'm so sorry, guys.
No problem. Not a problem with that part.
Far away. Questions. You got some questions here, so far away.
Yeah, so the question is about: do you think they need a point per game player to succeed? If they would, which player would get their first The SLATER lock up along the long term. A lot of guys not
But
too
point per
close
game, yeah.
point per game. Maybe go.
Do you think they need a point per game guy to be successful?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I honestly, if you look at the trajectory, if you want to compare Stützle and Draisaitl, they're both exactly on par with what they did in their first 2 years in terms of their progression. So now, can he take that jump into the 80-point, kind of range? I mean, if Tim can do that, that's definitely going to lend a lot. Naturally, progression with Drake Batherson. I mean, he was an all-star before that cheap shot by Aaron Dell, right? That put him out for 2 months, and then he was never the same when he came back with the high ankle sprain. Now, you saw what Drake Batherson was like at the Worlds, right? Championships. That was who he was prior to that injury, right? Because let's face it, he was heading to the All-Star game when everything went down. So if Drake continues his progression, a couple of guys naturally want to see, Giroux kind of, maintain, hopefully, his output. Same with DeBrincat. If he can maintain that, and then naturally if Chuck, Josh North continue their trajectory, they're doing just fine. But Tim Stützle, that definitely be, I think, that key cog there. And the other aspect is the elephant in the room is that third line with what's going on with Alex Formenton. Let's face it, there's a reason he's not signed, guys.
Do you expect Alex DeBrincat get an offer contract and or an extension the next couple of months, or wait for next year? He's still going to be key to be RFA anyway. But what your expectation for this situation with Alex DeBrincat?
I love it. It's a great question. I personally think, and Alex sort of touched on it last week, right at that presser, he wants to see how it's going to work out for both sides. So yeah, good point there, Coach. A couple months, see where things are at. Is it a good fit or isn't it? Right, both on and off the ice. I mean, DeBrincat's been here almost a month now in Ottawa. Got here with his wife, right? His young son, like infant son, like he's serious about trying to make it work here. I mean, last week the only guy I think that wasn't skating here 2 weeks prior to opening camp was Alex Formenton. They had every player here. I was down at Sensplex. I mean, there was Mackenzie Weegar was there, Cody Ceci, Pajot, all the Carlson, all the guys that live here in Ottawa the offseason were all skating there too then. But I heard a few of them saying, wow, we didn't have this when we played here. I'm talking about Ceci, Pajot, Carlson, to have literally the entire team but one guy 2 weeks prior to training camp skating together. So that speaks volumes. But in terms of DeBrincat, that's going to show him, I think, right? It's all those little things, because he comes from a small town, Michigan and so forth. And is he going to like it, hearing all that kind of stuff? So if he has a nice start to the season, he likes what's going on and off the ice, I could see it happening, right? A long-term deal,
That'd be awesome.
Where then we were joking around. We were joking around, Kevin, that maybe we can help with this. Like maybe if we get a couple of beaver tails in him and really kind of show him the Ottawa experience, and maybe he'll sign long-term.
There you go. Hey, all the little nuances, right?
That'd
all the
awesome.
little things. I mean,
so we have another question, Kevin, about Matt Gonzo. Who is the first goalie this year, Forsberg or Talbot, for the start of the season?
Okay, to start the season, it'll be Forsberg. DJ's a very loyal coach. Very loyal coach.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, he's also old school as well. Very old school from his days when he played as well, right? He was one of those grinders on defense and so forth. That's something we can get into down the road. I have issues with the defense, but major issues. And I've been told stuff about what's gone on behind the scenes with Thomas Chabot, which I don't mind getting into. But Anton Forsberg will start. And I think then at that point, it'll be, all right, let's get Cam Talbot his games. And there's the first month, there's not a whole lot of back-to-back nights. So DJ is going to be able to maneuver around the whole goalie tandem there a whole lot easier. But yeah, it'll be interesting. But definitely Forsberg to start the year. So good question. Forsberg to start the year. But again, it's going to boil down to the defense, though. Like Cam Talbot put up great numbers, but look at the defense he had in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm sorry, there's holes all over the place on this blue line. Like all
100%.
Over the place.
Yeah, that's one of our topics we'll get to. Yeah.
The Hammock thing, that was all, Pierre McGuire. And everyone's like, you could have had him for free a month before that on the waiver wire. And then you gave them a draft pick. And the fact that you didn't have a 4th round pick, we'll give you a 3rd round pick. Like,
crazy.
Those are the things where I still have issues with Pierre Dorion. I don't deny what he's done all summer, but I still have issues with him, right? Still have issues with him. And like I said, the moment he had that opportunity, just quickly, the moment he had the chance to fire Pierre McGuire, it was going to happen, right? Boom, done, right? But I'm going to tell you guys a quick story that I know your listeners are going to want to hear, all right? So hockey listeners in general, Sens fans even more so. I will tell you this, and I've mentioned it a bit in my blog and in the comment section. Pierre Dorion, when he goes on the radio, he refuses to go on any other show but the mid-morning show, okay? I know that for a fact. And he dictates what is not allowed to be asked to him. So when he went on a few days before the draft, he flat out told them, I know this for a fact, he told them, do not ask me about the firing of Pierre McGuire, or he wasn't going to come on. I know that for a fact. I know many people in that building, down at the Bell Media building down on George Street in the market. I'm telling you. This is how much that man controls.
But is that unusual though, Kevin? Like, I think, us being Habs fans and everybody here is excited about how transparent, the new management team has been. But I don't think it's unusual for, a management team to have pretty controlled kind of, situation with press and agreeing to do certain things. Like they're not public servants or anything. So it is a private business. So is it unusual that a GM would, really try to have that kind of control, or at least kind of field those questions first?
Well, in the Canadian markets, outside of, say, Toronto in particular, because they have the 4 major sports, right? So I know they don't try that crap in Toronto. I got different buddies that work both, the Sportsnet and the TSN radio side of things. They don't try that crap down in Toronto because you know what's going to happen? Okay, fine. We'll talk about the Raptors. We'll talk about the Blue Jays. We'll talk, you know what I mean? Like, come on, And I know for a fact I've lived in different U.S. markets, okay? They aren't going to allow it, right? Can you imagine that happening with the Blackhawks or the Flyers? They just say, oh, yeah? All right, we're in Philly. We'll talk about the 76ers and the Eagles and the Phillies, and we don't give a crap about the Flyers then. All the sports radio shows will talk. Like, you want to be involved on sports talk radio to drive your market, to drive your ticket sales, bottom line, merchandise, you name it, right? So here in Ottawa, we're a one-trick pony, right? We are a one-trick pony outside of the Red Blacks, and the Red Blacks don't put a big dent to things here. So that's the issue, that's the problem, and that's why, And look at, bottom line is, it just reeks and it stinks because it tells you Pierre Dorion does not want to be held accountable for what he did do, because there is no reasoning as to why he would have fired Pierre McGuire when he did. There's none. Why wouldn't you want another set of eyes leading to that draft? They already have the thinnest staff. They already have the thinnest hockey ops in all the NHL. Let's make it thinner. It made no sense. Anyways, go to the next question, guys.
Yeah.
I had to tell that story.
All good.
It's juicy,
not a problem, Kevin. It's
juicy.
all great. I love to hear some kind of story anyway, so that's good. We're going to fire up with a couple of questions for you, Kevin. Right. And we're going to go with the first one here. Kevin, do you believe the Senators are done tweaking the lineup and making trade? Or do you expect a more move before the season starts, or they're almost ready to rock and roll?
They're definitely not done. He's made it very what's the word? Pierre Dorian's made it very, I don't know, when it comes to the whole PTO thing, right? If Alex Formenton is not signed by camp, you'll see a PTO handed out to a guy, he said, and he didn't give a position, but that's the one position I look at, where he has a legitimate chance of making the roster. Now, I'm going to go back quickly, though, guys, to early July. Out of the blue, a player who played in the Swiss League last year, Sweden, one or the other, I should check that, is Jace Hagelrach. He played here 2 years ago. Why would you sign him before a ton of your other RFAs out of the blue at the early July? They knew already they were going to have issues with Alex Formenton because of the whole World Junior thing, right? So why would you sign him and sign him to a $750K deal when the guy didn't play in the NHL for the last year and a half? And there's other guys out there. But it was because he played left wing, he had NHL experience. He's their backup plan in case anything goes wrong here. And then they can bring in a guy in a PTO. So I can see them bringing a guy in a PTO at left wing if Alex is assigned here in the next week. And in terms of tweaking and so forth, I think now he's going to have to let it play out in camp, how the defense is going to shake out. If Nikita Zaitsev starts the season even here as a healthy scratch, this fan base is going to lose their marbles. It's either waive him, send him down to Belleville. You paid Michael Del Zotto's hit down there $2 million last year. Well, you know what? He's only going to be making $2.5 million because I already paid the $2 million bonus to him. So he's going to make it $2.5 million. Send him down to Belleville. Get him away from DJ Smith. That's one of his toys. Get rid of him. It's like having a child. Take the toys away from him when things shouldn't be happening. All right? Like, there's no way in the world that man should be in the lineup, right? And he's blocking the youth coming along, right? So I think Lassie Thompson. Well, last year, Lassie Thompson. So that question from your listener: Lassie Thompson, JBD, Jacob Bernard-Docker, and Eric Brandstrom all outplayed Zaitsev and Del Zotto in camp, but the other three were waiver exempt, so all three were sent back to Belleville. And that's when Brandstrom changed his agents and went to Newport after Brady Tkachuk signed, because he's like, wait a minute, this guy got a deal pretty fast, and his agents from Newport, I think I'll move over to them, right? So that's what happened there at Brandstrom. So bottom line, I think they need to fix defense. I can tell you this, Thomas Chabot, the last 2 years exit interviews, and it's gotten heavier and more heated each time he's left to go out for a summer. He has said, you upgrade this defense, you give me help, because he got injured twice last year because he was paired up there with Nikita Zaitsev, because Nikita Zaitsev handles that puck like a freaking time bomb, all right? He gets it, he wings it around the boards the other side of the ice, and it doesn't matter if his partner's ready or not, and he puts him in a susceptible position. And what happened? Tom Wilson. Oh, look who's behind the net with his head down waiting on this puck that shouldn't be coming his way. And he was out for 12, 14 games, shoulder. Why? Nikita Zaitsev put him in that position. And Chabot was furious in his exit interviews about those types of things. They got to upgrade the defense. So I'm going to say to that question to that listener, they're not done tweaking. And I think it's going to boil down to, does Alex Formenton sign before camp, and what happens during camp in the preseason games on the blue line.
Awesome. Great answer. The next one's about a little bit the same way. The Ottawa SLATER on the playoff team or not?
No.
Wow.
No. They'll get 85, 86 points, but you better be able to get 92 to 95 points if you're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you why. Here's my reason why I'm telling you no. Right? And I would love nothing more than to go over there for a meaningful game in April or May, okay, to watch the Sens play. All right? It's been 5 years. But it's a no with the way the current blue line looks. It could become a yes if they add a legitimate top four defenseman. So you could have, say, Artem Zub then paired with Thomas Chabot, which is a great pairing. But then if you want Jake Sanderson to be your second pairing, like I said, a Jacob Chychrun or a Tanev in Calgary, right? They got so many guys in the blue line there on the right side, on one-way deals. There's going to be healthy scratches there. There's not going to be some happy campers, trust me, come camp. I had a buddy have a chance to chat with Mackenzie Weegar about this, so when he was in town here last week. So I'll tell you, they're a playoff team if they upgrade the blue line, or if Lassie Thompson takes some massive leap and he's able to log top 4 minutes. But he's never played an 82 game in the NHL, an 82 game season in the NHL. So it's also asking a lot of a guy. So it's a no the way the current roster is. It could become a yes if the blue line is upgraded and if maybe a couple of guys perform above expectations.
A great
But as
point.
I
Kevin,
say,
who do you
Point
think
here. Great
who
point.
do
I
you think
think
beats out
27 point behind is very hard about that
who do you
one,
think
Ray.
beats out the Sens though? Like Boston's going to be massively undermanned for the first half of the season, right? So a lot of people are thinking they maybe kind of take Boston's spot. So you see Boston finishing ahead of Ottawa still, even with all those injuries.
you know what? I look at it. This is how I look at it. I mean, the top three in the Atlantic, the Leafs are going to definitely, you know, Samsonov, I think, will end up being the starter there over Matt Murray. I mean,
For
I don't
sure.
know what team that's a Stanley Cup contender that would take the biggest gamble on their most important position in goal, like Toronto has done. Right? I mean, they've had let's look at it. They had Anderson, right, and they had Campbell the last couple of seasons, and those guys were standing on their head because they couldn't. The blue line couldn't keep the puck out of the net. Right? So you look at Toronto; they're definitely probably going to regress points wise, but they should win the Atlantic. And then I actually think Tampa's going to be second. I think Florida. If you look at Florida's blue line, who do they have? Like
Yeah.
Florida, there's a chance that Michael Del Zotto is going to be on their blue line come opening night. He's on a PTO, but or is he on a PTO or is he on a? Well, he's on a 2A deal. He's on a 2A deal, but their blue line's atrocious. So I look at Florida. Yeah, they can maybe outscore opponents, but they'll be in the third spot. And I think Ottawa and Boston are going to battle for that 4 and 5 spot. And I don't think either is a playoff team. Like you said there, Marco. Bottom line is they got to start the season without McAvoy, without Marchand. But hey, they're pretty lucky to get Krejci back on what, a 1 year? Was it $1 million? And then Bergeron was like, I love the culture in Boston so much. Yeah, sign me up for a 1 year, $2.5 million. Like, who else? What other NHL teams lucky to have that, right? So at least they're going to have some depth up the middle. And I do really like Jim Montgomery there as coach. And I'll throw you guys a little Habs tidbit. Before the whole Marty St. Louis thing happened, I was told, and I know this for a fact, that when St. Louis was in town there in Montreal, back in, I want to say was it March? I can't recall when they were in town. He went out with Hughes and Gorton. They sat down, the three of them. Now, yeah, they know each other well, but
I'm sure, yeah.
there was a reason they did. There was a reason they did, right? They were looking at him strongly as a possible candidate. I like him in Boston because he's that kind of coach for what they need there in Boston. And I think Bruce Cassidy, for all the great things he did, there was a disconnect with the younger players. So maybe a guy like DeBrusque can have a resurgence. And let's not forget, they still have Lindholm on the blue line. I think it's Gretzlick or whatever. I think is hurt to start the year as well.
He's injured. He's injured too, yeah.
So
yeah.
So I think Ottawa and Boston will battle out for 4 or 5, but I don't think neither's a playoff team unless they're able to get some performances from players that weren't expected.
That's awesome. Great. And so we have a fire up because we have a few minutes. We have about 20 questions. So I have to finish this very quickly.
Wait, man. I apologize for earlier. So I'll stay on as long as you guys
It's all good about this one. What you thought on the Tim Souza signature?
You know what? I'll tell you what. When it comes to Timmy Stu, or they say Jimmy Stu, who's his line mates, I'll tell you what. Yes, he's still going to be on his rookie deal this year. So, hey, he'll probably outperform, I think, the 8-year deal by year 3 or 4 of the contract if he continues the trajectory he's on. So if you look at when the salary cap is going to be going up, Ottawa looks gold. When you look at the 6 guys they've got locked up for the next 5 years that are going to be together, the core. I'm talking Shabbat for another 5 years, right? He's got 5 years left on that 8-year deal. And when you look at the other core pieces they got signed on, in 3 years when the cap goes up, the likes of the Leafs and all these other teams, they're going to be having to pay, because the cap's gone up, larger money to retain their stars. And here's Ottawa going to have all their stars locked up on cap-friendly deals, 3 or 4 years from now. Those deals are going to look cap-friendly. So the Stützle deal, yeah. I think they were hoping to get that done now and not a year from now, because if it was a year from now, they'd be in the same shoes as the Toronto's going to be 2 years from now with Austin Matthews. Because then he's going to have a full year to play with DeBrincat and Giroux. And what if he puts up 85, 90 points? His agent's going to be saying, hey, we want 10 mil, 11 mil, AAV. So that deal at, was it 8.2, 8.3 is gold, because you'll outplay that contract in 3 or 4 years. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely right about this. Do you believe that Ottawa is still chasing Jacob Chikrin?
Oh, I love this question. Love it. So I'll give you a few little nibbles here that I've told you guys about. My contacts on the West Coast, some of them run deep in the Coyotes organization as well. I will tell you guys this. As of last week, he was still skating out in Arnprior. Arnprior is about a 20, 25-minute drive from where I am in Canada. It's west of Ottawa. It's in the valley. He's got a cottage on White Lake up there. And I had many friends run into him. They'd be out almost every night having dinner down on Main Street in Arnprior. And I don't know if he's still here. The fact that he was still here last week tells you something. And I know this for a fact. He does not want to be a part of the rebuild in Arizona. He doesn't want to be playing in an arena with 5,000 fans. And bottom line is, for him, he's just tired. And it's very, very similar to the Shabbat thing. He's tired of playing with defense partners that just can't cut it. I mean, he got hurt last year prior to that game in Boston on that road trip. Similar deal. Same. So
Kevin,
I'm telling you.
I think we could do a whole thing on Chychrun because I know we have lots of other questions to get to, but maybe next time we can talk about what would you be willing to give up for Chychrun though, because it's going to be expensive, right? But let's save that one for another time. I think Coach has a whole bunch of other questions too.
Okay. I'll just say this quickly then. I'll say this quickly about Chychrun. The 4 pieces they're asking for, and unfortunately, Donor, very, very close dear friend of mine, left the org there last week. That's something we'll get into. When you guys want to talk other teams, I can give you guys some scoops and stories. But I could tell you this. He was adamant and said there's no way in the world, to the Billy Armstrong there. And let's not forget John Ferguson Jr. is out there. You got those 2 out there that aren't the brightest bulbs in the what. But anyhow, those 2 seemed adamant about getting 4 pieces. And I know Donor told them, you're lucky if you get 3 first-round pieces, meaning it would be a first-round pick that's got to be unprotected. But Ottawa shouldn't be too concerned because if these fans that are like, oh, it's got to be protected. What are you saying then? Are you saying that you're still going to be in the bottom 10 of the league? No. So you shouldn't matter if it's protected or not. So unprotected first-round pick, all right? Give up your most ready NHL defenseman from the farm system, which is Lassie Thompson in my eyes, all right? And you got to then give up another piece that was a first-round draft pick, right? So, or you give up another first-round pick the following year, right? 2024. That's the most they're going to get, right? Are they still pursuing him? Absolutely. But they see Pierre coming from a mile away because they know desperate is for it. So that's why he's sort of backed off. Can it be revisited? Absolutely. Does Jacob want to be here? Absolutely. He's following all the Sens players on their Twitter and Instagram accounts, and so is Jacob's sister.
And he's in the Prior. And he's in the Prior right now too. So that says a lot. Yeah.
Exactly. Tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
So yes, right. I hope they continue to try to pursue him, but I think it's going to cool right now.
Question from Entertap. Kevin, do you believe Connor Brown will be a solid miss, sir?
Absolutely, 100%. I was commenting with two people on my blog, last week about this, and everyone's so quick to say, "Oh, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this." I think now you go back. I mean, don't forget they just lost Nick Paul for the last 20 games of the season, who played a fantastic 200-foot game. Connor Brown averaged the most ice time of any forward, okay? Ahead of Josh Norris, ahead of Tim Stützle, ahead of Brady Tkachuk. The most average ice time of any forward and played a better 200-foot game. Both of those guys killed penalties. Everyone says, well, Nick Paul, his foot speed, blah, blah. I don't care, man. 200-foot game, those two guys. So everyone's like, oh, their third line is terrific, et cetera, et cetera. Matthew Joseph might have wheels. But Matthew Joseph put up 11 points in those 7 games that he played. 6 of those 7 games were against Montreal, Detroit, and Buffalo. And the 4 games that he scored nothing was against teams that were playoff bound or just missed the playoffs, like the Winnipeg Jets, playoff bound team like Nashville, and so forth. So temper the whole Matthew Joseph is going to be a stud. I wasn't a fan of that contract, for the record, because they still controlled his rights for another year. Regardless, that third line for me, losing Connor Brown and Nick Paul, that's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out.
Awesome.
Because Pinto is still kind of an unproven commodity too, right?
Well, the other thing is with Shane Pinto, look at what he's played. 17 total NHL games, right? 12 last year, 5 the year prior when he left North Dakota. And that year in North Dakota, because of COVID, He might have played 25, 30 games. The guy's played just a little over 40 games in the last 2 seasons. And that's why I'm glad he's going to be in the rookie challenge. He needs to test that shoulder. And mark this one down for another day, guys. Ask me a question about the Shane Pinto injury and what happened last year and why he was rushed back. I got some info on that one, but we'll save that one for another time.
Danny asking you, Kevin, is the guy keeping the Senator or they gonna sell it?
Oh man,
I think it's the Melnick.
It's a loaded question. I'm going to be very careful. Don't want to get you guys into trouble legally either. Honestly, there's a lot of moving pieces. Okay, I'll say this. I mean, Anna and Olivia. Everyone's saying, "Oh, it's because of them." That we've done all this stuff and so forth. Like I said, when Simmer and JR talked about it in the morning show, they were adamant, and I agree, the fact that the passing, it wasn't because of Anna and Olivia that they went out and did all this stuff. Because that 3-person board of directors gave them the green light. So it wasn't because of Anna and Olivia. Are they going to sell the team? If they don't sell the team, or here's what I'm going to tell you. The oldest daughter doesn't care if they keep the team. I can say this without getting in any legal trouble. The youngest is the one that is adamant about keeping the team. And I can tell you guys this, the mother has been trying to convince the daughter to sell, and they would just keep saying like a 10 or 15%, minority piece. The reason I'm saying all this, though, is that if they don't sell the team by this time next year, when that whole waiver agreement thing's done with the NCC, because it'll be 15 months from then, a year from now,
yeah,
they're not going to be able to build that arena. They don't have the financial withal to do this. Okay, I'm telling you right now.
So this is the next question for Kevin, so you can answer that question at the same time because you did really well. Sure. Any word on relocation of the stadium in Ottawa?
So great question. So what I'm going to say here is that arena is going to be contingent on the Ruddies and the Greenbergs of the world, right, that are involved with OSEG, which is who own the Red Blacks for the record, but own half the darn city when it comes to Minto development, all right, are billionaires. What's going to be critical is, and I'm going to be at it next week, a week from today, is the SENS golf tournament the day before the main camp. And they're bringing back the SENS Foundation. It's going to be the first event for the SENS Foundation. So the reason why I'm saying this is critical, the SENS Foundation, is let's see what key business people become a part of the SENS Foundation, because that's going to then tell you who is lining up to buy the team probably. Because if whoever's got a stake in this and is a big part of that SENS Foundation, that's going to tell you they're probably going to be a part of the new ownership group. So the team has to sell in this next year if they have any hope of keeping that agreement in place with the NCC, because current ownership, okay, they're so in the red, all right? I was flat out told this, and I can tell you guys this without a shadow of a doubt, all right? Eugene Melnick, I should be saying, right? So if the Sens were able to sell the team for $500 million, the daughters would walk away with $200 million. That's how much in the red they are.
It makes sense.
That's how much in the red they are. I can tell you guys this quickly. This is why I'm adamant. Great question. So I'm going to go a little further on it. The reason why it's so critical that they sell the team is because, back in March, they asked the league for an advance of the TV money for this coming season. People don't realize this. Yeah.
We have Ed Pottinger in the chat saying that Elon Musk or Justin Bieber should buy the Sens. Not a bad idea.
So remember that whole thing went around with Justin Bieber. I'm going to tell you guys this, and I've had a few people that I talked to here in the media that I know really well. There's an American billionaire that has sniffed around, and I know him very well, that has sniffed around on a couple of occasions, and he'd keep the team here. And he also owns another pro sports franchise and is also looking to be a minority holder in a couple of other pro teams. But like I said, I can't mention his name, but I can tell you this. When they mention big names like that, there are potential guys like that. So if locally, they weren't able to get it done, I know for a fact there is someone out there. Just can't state his name, but don't worry, folks. This team is going to sell. The arena should move forward as long as the daughters aren't stubborn, in particular the youngest.
Question from Luciano. Is DJ Smith the right coach to lead this team that is loaded with talent?
loaded question.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a big DJ guy. Okay, anyone who's read my blog for the past year and a half, I'm not a big DJ guy because he's a little too old school, right? And he's a little too loyal. I don't know what it is. I mean, he had Nikita Zaitsev, right? Let's not forget, in Toronto. It was the same thing when he had Ryan Hainsey here when he brought him over from Toronto. There's different guys that he's just I don't know. It's like smoke and mirrors with him. So I'll say this: let's see what he does for the first 20 games this season, and if he's able to handle and use the talent he finally has. But it's going to come down to, he might be able to handle the talent he's got, but how does he deploy the blue line? Because if he continues to deploy the blue line the way he did last season, you're going to get negative results because everyone, and that's what drove me nuts. I mean, listening to him a couple of weeks ago in his first interview since returning from the summer, he even said, he goes, well, our blue line's adequate, right? Et cetera, et cetera. Well, you know what it's going to boil down to, DJ, is are you going to play the best players? That's what he said. Oh, I'm going to play the best players. You didn't last year. You flat out didn't. The moment
who's the D coach? Who's the D coach in Ottawa? Refresh my memory.
Oh, wow. You know what? This is bad. I know the name and it's escaping my mind. I wish it was Wade Redden or Mark Thought.
That would be a nice choice.
Anyhow.
Or Chris Phillips. Yeah.
But here's the thing, quickly, on the whole blue line thing, why DJ, I don't know. I'm very tepid on if he is or not, is because, Zaitsev returned from that heel and the last game, so he knew he was returning the game, and then all of a sudden blue logging 22 minutes a night in the top four.
Is it not Jack Quampiolo?
10-12 minute guy, and the next game he's a scratch, and he's sent back down to Belleville. So I have a hard time with DJ if he's going to deploy the blue line properly. So let's see what happens with the first 20 games if he's capable. Because if he isn't, the last 2 years before injuries hit and COVID hit and all this stuff, Ottawa, the last 2 years, 13-1 for the first 16 games and 12-2 for the other 16 games. So don't tell me injuries and COVID. Both years, the team got out slow, but the reason why they got out slow was because players would tell me, worst training camp, hardest training camp in the world, they got absolutely knocked to hell in training camp, right? So guys are coming out of training camp banged up. So DJ needs to take the gas off the pedal.
Awesome, Kevin. Just give you an idea, is Jack Capuano is the assistant coach over there with David Payne.
Yeah.
And
yes, thank you.
And then we have Bob Jones over there.
Attaboy, Bob, yes.
Yeah, I think.
And you know what?
I think, Kevin, there's a couple of polls out there, like who will be the first coach in the NHL fired this year, and I think DJ is probably at the top of most of the list. Like I think out of any coach that's on the hot seat going into the season, I think he's right there. Absolutely,
and I can give you guys another little snippet, another little scoop. Last year, they did not allow Jack Capuano to go interview for a specific, I won't say the team, but for a head coaching job in season. And it was because he was flat out told by Eugene, we might need you this year. Meaning they were close to firing DJ last season and they were going to have him step in, right? But personally, if DJ is fired, I don't want to see Jack Capuano behind the bench. I want Troy Mann, brought from Belleville. He's the one that has overseen the majority of the prospects that are in this organization and also in the main club. And he's a guy that understands, players. And I think he's on that cusp because if he doesn't if Ottawa doesn't somehow or some way promote him like they did with his brother Trent, right, to assistant GM this year, Troy's gone at the end of the season. I can guarantee you that. So Ottawa's going to have to do something either, at the end of the season, move him up to say being an assistant coach with the main club, or if they get out to they crap the bed in the first 20 games, I'd promote Troy Mann to being head coach before Jack Capuano personally.
Awesome. Your favorite goalies and for the Senator all time?
Craig Anderson. Yeah. And 10 years, man. And the guy put up numbers. And everyone doubted him. He put up numbers again. Like he'd have maybe kind of a down season. And I love Patty Lalime, though. Everyone wants to crap on him for that Leaf series. But he was playing basically with a half-torn ACL. He was taking shots in the knee. Like he was taking cortisone shots to the knee, as was CP that year, Chris Phillips. But Craig Anderson, and funny story, Craig was when he signed with Buffalo there last year, and I can't wait for Buffalo to make the return this year because he better get one heck of a freaking ovation here. I'm going to be doing a piece on that, like of all the players that are returning to Ottawa this year, like Nick Paul, their first game back. Craig Anderson is the guy I'm looking forward to the most. But last year, they had like 2 or 3 break neighbors, and he didn't know if he was going to play, right? And then he signed with Buffalo. He drove up from Buffalo to Ottawa for those couple of days to get a bunch of stuff from his house. And I had fans tweeting me saying, hey, yeah, I saw him at the cafe, was it Nostalgia out on Main Street in Stittsville. And I saw him at Five Guys right by the CTC. And people were like, what's he doing in town? And then turned out it's because he's like, he needed his stuff. And he didn't think he was going to be playing that year, and he did. So, yeah, give me Craig Anderson all day long. But oldies and goodies, Ron Tudnick, and David Rhodes, man.
No love for Peter Sidorkowitz, like early Civic Center days, Well,
those are great, eh? Yeah. He was good. So was Billington too. When they needed veterans like that at the time. But I like Damon Rhodes and Ron Tudnick because that was that duo that got us into the playoffs for the first time ever.
Yeah, Tugnut for sure.
Good question.
Huge turning
point.
Love
it. Good question.
Next question is about how well will Dylan Gambrell do this year, in your opinion?
Oh, I love this question. I've had arguments in the comment section of my blog. So this one just perplexed me. I don't know why, why he signed him as early and as soon as he did, and then give him a one-way deal. No other team was giving him a one-way deal. But guess what? This is where I have issues with Pierre Dorion. He's got to stop listening to the DJ for player personnel moves, right? This whole Josh Brown garbage that happened last year, right? Josh was playing in the lineup, the human pylon. So it's these type of things that drive me nuts. Dylan Gambrell scored 2 goals last year, right? In 60-some games? Oh, yeah, he took faceoffs. He's so keen. No, look it. Bottom line is Mark Kastelic, who played a dozen games at the end of the season last year and scored 5-6 goals. He's got the size. He plays a physical game. You put him out there with Watson and Parker Kelly, and they're going to wreak havoc, that fourth line. You put Dylan Gambrell out there with them, and all of a sudden it's lost a bit of its bite and edge. You talked about, as a management group, that the youth development, over and over. Why are you signing him? Mark Kastelic is your youth movement. Get him in there now. Let him play. He earned the spot at the end of last season. They asked the coach, who's the player you're looking forward to most seeing in camp? Parker Kelly is the name that came out with DJ Smith. I'm thinking to myself, this is your problem. And this is why I have a problem with DJ Smith, is he's all about these guys that are grinders the way he was, right? When he played the game. So, if it wasn't for injuries last year, we never would have saw Timmy Stu at center. Okay? Wasn't happening, right? And it was driving everybody nuts because he's on that wall, the half wall on the left side, and he's getting nowhere, no space, no offensive creativity because he's being pinned down. So the Dylan Gambrell thing, I hope Kastelic shows and it plays out properly, and DJ actually sticks to his word and says what he says he would do by playing the best players, because I think it's no contest. And Gambrell should be the 13th forward and not Kastelic. So I'm not a fan. You scored 2 goals in 60-some games and you're giving that amount of time. He was even a healthy scratch at some points last year. Anyhow.
All right.
Sorry.
Next question. Could they move the Senator to another town? Do you expect them moving somewhere somehow?
Never happened.
The Nordique?
It'll never happen.
The Nordique? No?
Oh, you know what? See, that's because of Eugene Melnyk, because he was money hungry and he knew that at the time he wasn't filling the building here. But he wasn't filling the building here because he had a horrible roster. He had no one surrounding
him. And he's in Canada.
Yeah. It's not going – sorry, folks. And it's going to take 24 or 32 votes by the Board of Governors. It's not happening. If the Arizona Coyotes are going to play in a 5,000-seat arena in Tempe, Arizona, okay, the Senators aren't moving. They're not leaving.
Yep.
I'll squash that one. Sorry, not happening. You had to ask me that though last year, and Eugene was still alive, and that's why the whole Quebec, thing. There's reasons to that. There was legs to that, and it was because of Eugene, but that's not an issue anymore.
William asked this question to you. Do the Senators go deep in the playoff? I know you understand it. You give us an answer earlier about, do they win the cup early prediction time, or do you believe from today to the next 3 years, what do you see them at some point?
I like that, Coach. 3 years from now. So yeah, you want to look at the trajectory. So you challenge for a playoff spot this year, or if the injury bug doesn't fall against you again like it did last year. Every team deals with it, but Ottawa was in, I think, that top 5 man games lost, right? So I think if they can dodge the injury bug, they can have a couple of players that might have career years, and they're able to upgrade the load. And if they're going to make the playoffs this year, then I could see them like 2 years from now making a deeper run into the playoffs, and then maybe 3 years from now challenging for the cup, because then Tim Stützle's 23-24, Brady Tkachuk's pushing 25-26. All of a sudden, Thomas Chabot's 28-29. You got guys rolling into their prime years. So 3 years from now, I could see them absolutely challenging for the cup if the trajectory keeps on moving forward here each year and Pierre Dorion doesn't make any bad moves. Because let's face it, before this past season, the amount of horrible free agent signings and the amount of horrible trades he made. I mean, the fact that, Artem Anisimov and Cedric Paquette were being played in the lineup ahead of Colin White, that just goes to show you where I think DJ's head is at, right, when it comes to understanding NHL talent. That's what happened here, right? That's what happened here a year and a half ago, folks, for the COVID season. So, but guess who's making those moves? He went and got, what's the kid's name in defense while you're retiring here? Anyway, like I said, he started Galchenyuk, and then he waves. Mete, but he waves Rudolph Balzers to protect Galchenyuk from putting Galchenyuk on waivers. It's just, that's why I have a problem. Like, yeah, he was given, the open checkbook and so forth.
Talking about problem, Kevin, can you add any note to the Senator Hockey Operation? I see you blog about it. So that's what I stopped you talking, because the question was really
That's okay, man. Jump in. Just jump in and cut me off. I tend to ramble. So the hockey ops is an aspect that drives me nuts. Like I told you guys, they have the thinnest of any team in the NHL. They brought in Ryan Bonus to be the assistant GM. They promoted Trent Mann from chief scout. So what have they done? They haven't filled the chief scout position. And the OHL and the Q and the Dub, all these junior hockey seasons are starting, and you still don't have a chief scout. I know Seattle scooped up Doug Wilson Jr. I was big on him. I actually know him personally. And he would have been a great find, slide right into that role. So Ottawa needs to definitely up the hockey ops. But the problem is, folks, and everyone listening out there, or if you listen to it tomorrow, if you didn't catch it live tonight, is Pierre Dorion wants less mice in the room to disagree with him. So he wants less voices because he wants no one taking him to task. And that's the issue here, right? I mean, look at McTavish left this organization and basically took a step back, like took a lower position in the hockey world to get away from here. And it's because Pierre Dorion was awful to that man. And here's a guy that was here for a couple of years, born and raised here, had his family here, and he didn't even want to be a part of it anymore because of what Pierre is like behind closed doors. People don't realize it, man. Not a pleasant individual behind closed doors, folks. So, and again, they never even made an announcement thanking McTavish for all he did here. Like, it's all these weird things that have gone on with Pierre Dorion, and people don't bother to call him out here because you know what happened? They just yanked press creds, right? They'll yank press creds. Why do you think Don Brennan doesn't cover the team anymore here, right? There's all these different guys that work with different media outlets, folks. I don't care. I'm going to let it out there. I'll put it out there. They yank their press creds because they don't like what's being written. They don't like the fact that someone's actually giving the other side of the story. They want you to read things with your rose-tinted colored glasses and blinders on. They don't want someone taking them to task, and that's why it goes back to what we talked about earlier, how Pierre would try to control interviews on the radio.
Awesome.
So, no, I wish they would add it was Luciano. I hope they add to hockey ops. They have no choice to hire a chief scout, and I'm stunned that it hasn't happened yet. Absolutely stunned.
We have two last questions. I'm going to resume a question for people right now is about a lot of people talk possible different people can buy the team, come from Daniel Alfredson, Justin Bieber. We have other people talk about other people can buy it. And do you believe this could happen in the next 24 hours, 24 months? And then the last question come from Luc Lafortune said, Pierre Torion is not going to be protected by Melnick now for the next 12 months. You expect possible the team does not well, could be fired. So on our team, and then possibly Pierre Dorion get fired.
I love these questions. You guys, you're going right up my alley here, man. I love this gossip. And it's good gossip because it's all factual stuff, right? I call it gossip because wasn't it in the mainstream media want to talk about, right? They don't want to talk about it. So ownership. I could see Alfie 100% becoming a part of a group that would become new owners. York, of course, who Mr. Farm Boy, right? He's worth a ton of money. I know Alfie is very tight with him and could be part of that group. So would the CP, Chris Phillips. He's another guy. And I'm so glad they brought Chris back into the fold and the position that they gave him. That was critical. And I love the fact that they brought in Wade Redden. That's the only really actually started that hockey ops. It's the only other hire they've actually made, but he's on the dev side. But in terms of ownership groups, that'd be the one that I'd like to see happen. Alfie involved, Chris Phillips involved, because these are guys that are, lifelong Senators, and they live in the community, and they do so much in this community, right? They've like I said, they've moved here, and they're here living permanently, for the rest of their lives. So you want people like that are ingrained in this city and community, million people when you look at Ottawa and the Valley. In terms of Pierre Dorion, I think the fact that he did not fire or replace. So I had a piece this summer, and I said, as an organization, I don't care what position, if it's coaching or player personnel, if you are not trying to upgrade every position constantly as a team, then you aren't doing your job. So the fact that Ottawa didn't try to upgrade the coaching position when they had 6, 7, 8 incredible coaches on the market, and everyone else went and scooped them all up. If it was Cassidy, DeBoer, Claude Julien's probably the only guy left on the market with any sort of, cachet. But the fact that he didn't fire DJ and upgrade the coaching position is because that's Pierre trying to keep his job, because his one last get out of jail free card will be firing DJ if the season gets off to a slow start. Then if things continue to go south and they don't go well, then Pierre would be the next to go, right? Because then he would have gone through Guy Boucher, right? DJ Smith, and then into another coach. So it's and don't forget he fired Dave Cameron when he took over as GM. He wanted to have his own coach. Don't forget that as well, folks. So he'd be on to his fourth coach. People forget that. He fired him when he was hired in middle April in 2017. He fired Dave Cameron. So that's Pierre's jail get out of free card. So if he can fire DJ this year and then hope that a new coach comes in, if he has to go that route, if DJ has a slow start, at that point, then Pierre's job would be on the line, because then he'd be looking at, what do they say? You have a 3-4 coach shelf life as a GM.
Yeah,
and he'd be on coach 4, moving on to 5 if that was to happen. So Pierre wouldn't survive that. So, but like I said, let's face it. The other thing is with Pierre Dorion that people don't know, he wasn't their first choice. Randy Lee was their first choice. Randy didn't want the job. There's another little gossip scoop. I know that for a fact, right? Randy Lee was asked by Brian Murray, and Randy didn't want the whole, everything that went with being the GM and being the focal of attention. Randy wasn't that kind of person. Quiet personality, but confident. He started as a strength coach, worked his way up, in the organization, just like Tim Pattison has now too, right? He's worked his way up from video coach all the way up through the organization. For God's sakes, I used to play touch football with him in a fun Friday night league indoors, so I know how his trajectory has gone as well. But Pierre, a lot's got to go right. I know he's done a lot of things, but he did say one thing: everything that's gone on that's on paper. Let's see what happens on the ice. Everything looks great on paper. Let's see what happens on the ice.
Thank you so much, Kevin. We go through those questions. I think it was a couple more, but they was more similar of what they asked you earlier. So some people show up a little bit late and then they repeat the same question. But look, this was amazing. Right. This was the first time with us. At the end of the show, normally we do a Frenchy quiz. Tonight, it's all about Ottawa Senators. Would you like to join us and participate? And
I'm in, man. I'm not doing anything, man. It's me and the dog. So
so I'm going to move the graphic, and then you're not going to be there, but I'm going to add you. So don't go nowhere. Just stay there. That'd be great. Marco, all good to join us for the show, for the quiz too?
Let's do it.
All right. So let's see what we have here. Let's move on this one over there. Marco just show up, and then we're going to get Mr. Kevin in a few seconds. And it's going to be right here. We're going to move him on the right side, beside everyone like that. So what happening? It's a 5 question, everybody. You're going to hear that at the end of the answer. Everybody, Kevin and Marco gave us their answer. We accumulate point, and the winner with most of the point win the contest tonight. It's a 5 question about the Ottawa Senator. And it's really popular, Kevin, this show, this question, those questions, people wait for that one over there. So thanks again, like people, they thank you in the chat, by the way. So they're really happy about that.
Great job, Kevin.
Tonight, so we appreciate that.
Oh, hey, glad to be here, man. I'd love to do it again. Like I said, I'll try to do it every Tuesday for sure and jump in from time to time. It's been great with you guys.
People ask you, do you speak French, by the way? Or?
Ben, mon français n'est pas parfait, mais je comprends très bien.
Parfait. Donc, ça c'est bien pour comprendre. On va faire attention, Marco, à ce qu'on va dire en français.
Ouais, ça c'est sûr, ouais, absolument.
Just kidding. Let's move on. Question number 1 of the night. Let's go. Let's rock and roll the show tonight. Question 1. Here we go. The clock starts. The Ottawa Senator has how many captains there are in the NHL? 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11? 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11. How many captains they have since they are in NHL? This Ottawa Senator, not the past. This the one in 1990. So
the modern version. Yeah.
Exactly about this one over there. Nicolas said. Nicolas, you said D and 11. Does not work. Nicolas, tell me again. William, Eternal, RJ, Jose, Chicago. Thanks so much. Corey said C. All right. Kelly, D. Francois, C. And then we have Salah, Luc Lafortune. All 3 C with Francois, Salah, and Luc Lafortune. Oops. Nicolas, thanks so much. Kobe Bono. And then we have Zenit. In our tap, go with C. Zenit with B. Welcome back. Pierre Martin, go with C. And Mr. Marco, we're going to open up the door.
So Kevin's a rookie, and he blurted out his answer right away. So I'll take his answer because he's the Ottawa Senators expert, and go with C, number 9.
9 for Marco. Mr. Kevin.
I'm like I said, I'm thinking 9. My bad. I was trying to think back. I'm going, Brady Tkachuk. There's Spezza, Carlson, Alfie, Laurie Boschman, naturally, Randy Cunneyworth. I think Mark Lamb was in there for a bit. Alexei Yashin. It's got to be 9. Yeah. I don't know. I know I might be forgetting somebody. I'm guessing.
Wasn't Redden captain 9. For a while? No, Redden wasn't captain.
No, he was he wore an A. Fish wore an A. I mean, Carlson never should have been the captain. That's another story. Ask me another day. Chris should have been the captain. I have a story on that one. I'm gonna guess 9. Yeah, I'm gonna go 9.
9 with that one over there.
Yeah.
All right.
I was trying to do the math in my head.
This one, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God! And many people will say 9, but obviously it's 10 with Brady Tkachuk and the list they're missing on that one over there. So that's the reason the answer is D. Congratulations. The people get it. And we have Vinny007, Nicolas de Gobi Bono, and Kelly start the show with one good answer. And that's what's happening about this one there. Congratulations, the winner. And let's move on to question number 2. Here we go. From this list, which player played the most game with the Ottawa Senator? Eric Gondra, Zeno Chara, Alexandre Daigle, Mika Zibanejad, or Mac Metat?
Interesting.
RJ, go with C. RJ, welcome back. Pierre Martin got
Kevin, we wait for some of the chat to answer first.
Nicolas c'est C. Chicago c'est A. Luc Lafortune c'est E. Salaire c'est E. Corey Hill D. Alan Vaillancourt, welcome back in the show, by the way. Vinny C. Eternal E. William E. And Zenith Gaming A. And then we have Jose Duarte, Pierre Martin E. Kelly. Kelly, I don't have your answer, I believe, or maybe you said, I don't know. But Mr. Kevin, now we're going to start with you.
I am going to go with actually one of my very close personal friends. Very close personal friends, and maybe we can get him on the show one of these times. He was just actually up here in Canada with his wife and his 3 lovely daughters. Alexandre.
All right. Marko, do you follow the teacher of the one?
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. I've met Alexandre Day a couple times. Great guy.
He's amazing. Alex is great.
Yeah. Love to have one for sure. So I think, I don't know, I get a sense that maybe Methot might have played more games. So I don't know. I think it's probably between Dag and Methot, but I'll go with Methot.
Marko with Methot. Kevin, go with the... Oh my God! Alexandre, the answer is, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mark Methot got it for about
really,
a little bit more game overall about this. François Pitre with Pierre Martin, Eternal, William Snyder, Salaire, Luc Lafortune, and Marco Larabie with VD007, Nicolas and Kelly are all with one good answer after good, 2 good answer to answer.
You know, Zibanejad, I thought for sure there's no way. He was traded like many moons ago, and he played a lot of time in Binghamton. And Condor one, I thought no way, but that's a really good one.
This is easy, guys. Under, over, exact. That's the one we do always at question number 3. How many players play over 500 games with the Ottawa Senators? 10. 10 of them.
So over or under or exact, how many players have played 500 games for the Sens?
Exactly.
All right. So Kevin, give it some thought here as the chat gives their answer.
I'm trying. I'm like finger counting.
That's the way to do it, man. It's better than just pure guessing.
The time is up. So that time we're going to pick up a couple more answers. Mr. Marko.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't think there's a lot because, again, with the Senators management being a bit cheap and shipping off a lot of their veteran players, I don't think it's probably as many as some other teams. I'm going to say exact, though.
Exact for Marko.
It seems like a round number, like it shouldn't be. So that's why I'm choosing it, because I'm going the opposite of what my instinct says.
Kevin.
Wow, I'm on that either over or exact, because I was sitting there going, there's guys that people don't think of, right? Zach Smith played 500 games here, right? Vermi did.
Radek Bonk,
yeah. Chris Kelly did. I don't know if McEachern did.
Wade Redden.
Yeah, she probably did. I'm trying to think. Well, Redden, Phillips, and Carlson all did.
Fisher.
Spezza did. Spezza, Fisher. God, I think I've talked myself into over.
Over for Mr.
Okay, I'm going to go over.
Kevin. Oh, my God. This time he nailed it. He got that one over there. Congratulations, Mr. Kevin. Take one score right there. And honestly, guys, we have 13 players with all one good answer. So everybody is in the game at this moment. So congratulations, everybody.
Exciting.
Question number 4 is getting close and close. Here we go. In the Senator history, how many players draft first round never play in NHL?
Ooh.
1 player only, 2 player only, 3 player only, 4 player only, 5. Not first overall pick, it's first round at any time. Yeah. How many of them did never play 1 game in NHL? Good luck, everybody. Here we go. RG Chicago and Nicolas. There's a do good answer. Bobby back in the house now, Bobby. Vinny, Eternal, Jose Duarte. Corey Hill, Salah. I want to apologize, guys. Salah has 2 good answers so far. So I want to apologize on that one there. Salah take the lead earlier. So I want to be sure you understand. Kelly, Luc Lafortune, William Snyder. The time is up. We're going to wait for a couple more answers about this one there. During that time, maybe, Kevin, you can give us your answer.
There's 2 I can think of for sure. Shane Bowers and Matthew Chouinard, who was drafted twice, actually, by Ottawa. Those are the 2 I can think of. Yeah, that was a bizarre one. I'm going to go 2. It's all I can think of. I don't know. I'm just blanking really bad, actually. I'll go 2.
2. Marco.
Yeah, this would be a pure guess for me. It didn't sound like Kevin was super sure about his answer, but he named 2.
Ooh.
So
actually, you know what? There's another one.
Oh, okay. Well, you tell me all about it, Kevin.
Sorry, Ridley Gregg.
All right. Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah. So I guess it's players that they haven't played a game yet.
And he's also going to have a 1-game suspension when he actually does get called up because of what happened last year, the preseason.
Well, then that would mean that there's Tyler Boucher too, right? Tyler Boucher hasn't played a game.
Ooh. Okay, this is good. See, it's all these recent guys. Because I'm sitting there trying to rattle my brain. The Shane Bowers was in that Duchesne and Tourist deal, right? He still hasn't played a game in Colorado.
You work together right now, so I'm going to give you only 1 point with 0.5.
Go ahead, then, Marco.
Okay, I'm gonna say 5. I'll go 5
for Marco.
Yeah.
Kevin, because it's the first time, we're going to give you another chance. Do you go still with your answer? You go a little bit higher.
I'll go 4.
4 for Mr.
Now that we talked it out.
Oh my God! But the lucky man did it with 4. And the good answer is D. And in our top of the good answer, now Mr. Kevin go 2. But Salah take the lead with 3, ladies and gentlemen. They are the winner. Bobby McGinnis have a good answer. The only thing you did wrong, Kevin, Matthew Chouinard played only 1 game in NHL.
Oh, he did, eh?
Yeah, 1 game. That's it. He never played any other game in NHL. So that's only 1. But you're right about Sean Bowers. Bowers.
Yeah.
And then you're right enough, Marco. Riley Gregg and Jake Sanderson. Tyler Boucher.
Tyler Boucher.
Yeah, that's it. So, congratulations, everybody. Guys. Let's move on. Question number 5. And the last one. In the Senator history, how many jersey number? Nobody wear them between 1 to 99. I need to finish strong with this question. How many number nobody wear in the history in NHL? I'll give you an example. 99. It never been wear. But they have how many of them never be wear by any player play for the Senator? 7, 8, 10, 11, or 12. Good luck, everybody. And only was current players, Eternal. Then Vinny got B, Chicago C, Chicago D, hold on, Kelly C, Jose Eduardo D, RGC. And that's what we at this moment. Jose D, RCC, William A, Bobby E, Nicolas C, and then we have Zenit, François, and Corey Hill. Correa have a 1 point earlier, by the way. Solar, Pierre Martin, D, Luc Lafortune, E, Enartap, C. Can Enartap come back and win this game if he's right? Possible. And let's start with Kevin about this one over there.
It's a total stab in the dark. I'm thinking about it. I'm going to go E, 12.
12. Thanks so much. And Mr. Marko.
Oh yeah, total stab in the dark on this one, but you would think it's a high number, and you know me, I always go against I do the opposite of what my instincts and logic tell me I should do, so I'll go with a lower number just because it doesn't make sense, and that's something coach would do, so we'll go 8.
8. B for Marko about this one over there. If Salah is right, he won the contest. If Enartap is right, he tied the game. And many of you are possible to win. Obviously, oh my God! Both of you are wrong. You have to go in the middle on that one over there. And the answer is C. And ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this contest tonight, we have Enartap again, straight for the third time, back to back to back.
Jeez.
And Salah make his first winning of the season with us tonight. So congratulations for everybody in the chat. Many of you have two good answers, including Kevin. Honestly, Kevin, if he was right, it was tied the game, by the way. But unfortunately, he was wrong on the last one. And that's conclude, guys, the Frenchy quiz. So congratulations for Mr. Enartap and Salah are the winner of the Frenchy quiz tonight.
That was great.
Great job. Great job on your first quiz, Kevin.
Mr. Kevin, we want to thank you so much for your participation tonight. We really appreciate your time you give to us. This is the first time. Hopefully, it will not be the last time. And you are really knowledgeable about hockey, about the Ottawa Senators. Definitely, we're going to invite you again. And let's stay in touch. Anything you want to add before you leave the building?
Oh, it's been great being on with you guys. And like I said, I don't mind coming on. At least once a week if you guys want, especially with the season ramping up. The Rook Challenge this weekend, right, Friday through Monday. You got Montreal and Ottawa in that one that's down in Buffalo. No, it's been great. And the questions were awesome. You know, people are very dialed in and, intellectual questions, right? We're not just getting, silly ones. These people are diehards. They get it. And, next time I get on, I'll try to drum it up more, get some more people listening in. And I'll try to give away a few more little gossip scoops, as we move forward into the season.
Yep. Definitely rookie camp this week for the Ottawa Senators with the Montreal Canadiens, Boston, and New Jersey, and Pittsburgh, I believe, in Buffalo. So it'll be interesting to watching this rookie camp follow up. Of course, I can't wait to talk a little bit next time because I want to talk about Shane Pinto. I think he's the one player inside this organization at the top prospect. We did not close because you left, and then we will come back with all the questions. But the chat tell you. Thank you so much for your participation, Mr. Kevin, and let's stay in touch. And then if you need anybody, in the hockey bars want to join us one night, we will have to open the door to anybody of your organization. Kevin is exceptional with us, and hopefully it's not going to be the last time we see you around, and hopefully you can invite anybody. We always invite people to join us.
Hey, I'd love to. Just a little tidbit. It was 4 years ago today that Erik Karlsson was traded from Ottawa to San Jose.
Absolutely right. I saw that on Twitter today. 4 years, and how many players they get? 6, I believe, with all the prospects.
Yeah, it's Josh Norris. The team, right?
Yeah.
It's what shaped the team. If you look at it, Josh Norris, Tim Stützle, and those 3 draft picks were Ostapachuk, the kid that had a good World Junior tourney, Marilainen, who's one of their up-and-coming goalies, and then Matt Sogard, I think he'll be here next year. So they got 5 potential big-time contributors to the team. One thing I'll throw out to you guys while I'm on with you guys, and we'll follow it up off the air, whatever, on Twitter. is we're coming up on the 50-year anniversary, right, of the Summit Series. And we're having the screening here at the Mayfair Theatre this coming Saturday. Liam McGuire is a very good, dear friend. He was also the narrator for it, and he's as close with all these guys as anyone ever has. I mean, two of his closest friends are Paul Henderson and Yvonne Cornway. If there's anyone you ever want to get on leading up to that, the 50th anniversary is coming up. It was September 20. I should know this. 25th, 26th. It's coming up, or is it towards the end of September? Liam would shoot me, not knowing it. But a guy that your listeners would go bonkers and bananas for would be to have him on. I mean, Marko, you know, he's like the most world-renowned hockey trivia expert, but it's all his knowledge when it comes to the Summit Series and all the different people that he knows so well from that team. And he, like I said, during the summer they had different gatherings, and he was the guy that was the MC, and he's posted pics of him with all of them, Bobby Hall, all those guys, Bobby Orr.
He's one of the bigger. He's one of the bigger guys pushing for Henderson to be part of the Hockey Hall of Fame, right? Like he's all over that
it's all
story.
About, yeah, because it's hockey. It's not the NHL Hockey of Fame, but he'd be a guy that we should try to set up and get him on with you guys, because just a great NHL personality. But I mean, the biggest wealth of knowledge you're ever going to come across. But it's the fact that the 50-year anniversary is coming up. I know he's going to be sought after because he's the narrator for that Summit Series. It's on CBC, right? He was a part of the entire filming. They did it a year ago. I've heard him on the radio, different radio stations. But he'd be a guy I think that your listeners would absolutely adore having on. So him, and then I'll get you a couple of guys from the Buzz, from some of the Canadian teams, right?
Thank you so much again, Kevin. Look, I really appreciate. Hopefully, we can match up another date next week, and we can see a night. You can come here. That we open the door anytime if you want to. Just stay in touch with me. And again, first time, but it's not for be the last time. I can wait next week to see you, my friend. And wish you an amazing, great weeks. And hopefully, we're going to do a little bit more deeper about Ottawa Senator. We're going to talk about the rookie camp together anyway next week. So thanks so much, friend Kevin. And the only way you can reach you guys is on the hockeybars.com. Follow Kevin over there. And he has his Twitter account, and then is somewhere, somehow.
Don't worry, you'll get it. If you go to the Hockey Buzz blog, my Twitter feed is embedded in my blog. So you just click on that, you'll find me. And
here we go.
Sometimes
Kevin
I'm active.
FR.
There you are with the big numbers. Like I said, I was a rookie doing social media last year. No idea what
525,204. Wow.
Give me a bunch of friggin' numbers, and everyone's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I don't know what I'm doing. I'm on Twitter though."
Any particular? Let's just finish this way. Any particular tell us why this number is? Figure out something, or
is this Da Vinci Code style kind of?
Because I think at some point like this, I don't know, Kevin, but you should wear like an orange dress and put the number in the back of your orange, and then.
It's a prison number.
Thank you, Kevin. I can wait to see you next week. We wish you an amazing, great night at Swing Dream. I can wait for next time. Marko, stay with me. We're going to talk about the ad branch before we close the show. Thanks, Kevin. Have an amazing, great week, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks you again.
Take care.
Great job.
Here we go, Marko. Another great night tonight. Great to have Kevin Francis bring a lot of knowledge about Ottawa Senator. More to come the next couple of weeks, guys. That's what we're going to bring every time here. And before we leave, Marko, we want to thank you for your participation tonight. But can you tell us a little bit what's coming for the next Habs branch Sunday, this Sunday?
Yeah, absolutely. Episode number 2, Habs brunch. Happy to report that Karen Haynes will be joining us once again. The first video that we did was amazing. She did such a great job. I think we started to learn a little bit about her, and we're all really excited to have her on board again for next week. Should be lots of great storylines to follow heading into next weekend. Rookie camp coming, so should be a good show. We hope everybody can join us on Sunday at 11 a.m. for another Habs brunch, episode number 2.
Here we go, Marko, before we leave.
You are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you.
It was another great night of the HNL Tonight show with Marko LARABIE and our guest Kevin Francis. Until the next time, we want to remind everybody, of course, be well, be healthy, find a way not only dominate your day, but find a way to dominate the second half of what?
2022.
Here we go. We love you people. Have an amazing, great night, sweet dream. Thank you, Marko. Thank you, Luciano, RJ Calabro, Corey Hill. We miss you, buddy. Love to having you aboard. Don't forget to come back. Vinny James, William Snyder, François Pitre, Pierre Martin, Enoch Tap, the GOAT of the Frenchy quiz, Nicolas de Bourbie Bodno. Welcome back again, my friend. Salah, the winner. Luc Laporson, Vinny 007, Kelly, Eternal Render, Pierre Martin, Chicago Bear 97. If I forgot your name, we apologize, but remember, we love you people. We want to thank all the insiders in our club and good page, Michael Devilano, Marko LARABIE, contributeur Kevin Hans, Ross Cohen, Nick Larivière, Kevin Francis for tonight, moderator, the skipper, Danny T, the assistant captain, in our tap, Ronwood Kings, Jose Duarte, Luciano Graziano, the helper, Yamo Vartanen, and RJ Calabro, and the driver, Roger L. Abs. Thanks so much, everybody. Again, J7 and the Tampa Bay 2. For all the members of the Hockey National Show, all the support, we thank you. We need to add Pierre Martin, and this is coming very soon. We appreciate for your support. Don't forget, at Daily News every day 11 o'clock a.m. Then every night 9 p.m. with the HNLTONIGHT show. Until the next time, wish you an amazing great night, everybody.
Oh yeah!